Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's live event. My name is Dennis Lavin. I'm a senior product manager with Waygate Technologies. I specifically support our Everest Mentor Flex video borescope as well as our XL Detect Plus video borescope. So thanks for joining the event. Today's topic is guided visual inspection for the wind industry. And so with that, why don't we go ahead and jump right in. We'll show you the agenda here. So first, I'll start off, I'll go through just the wind industry as a whole and give you some background on visual inspection in wind. We'll talk about some common inspection challenges. Since this is visual, we'll talk mostly about the gearbox itself and inspecting that. We'll talk about the inspection solution, the video borescope itself, and some common features. I'll give you an overview of menu-directed inspection, or MDI. Then we'll jump into Inspection Works Insight, our cloud-based platform, or push to IW, a specific feature. And then we'll transition from just PowerPoint. We'll jump in and actually show you a live demonstration of the Everest Mentor Flex product. We'll do a live inspection of some bearings and show you MDI, Inspection Works Insight. We'll go over to the cloud-based platform as well to show you how we push data to the cloud. Okay, so let's get into the content here. So just some background on visual in the wind industry. So wind power will play and is playing a leading role in achieving a low carbon, or in many markets, net zero future, one which requires completely carbon-free energy sector with deep cuts in emissions. So wind power generation is more economical than many other sources. It's growing consistently year over year as a source of clean energy. So what are the main costs when it comes to wind energy? Well, of course, the wind is free. So the two main costs are construction of the wind farm itself and then maintenance. So that's where we'll focus. Maintenance is a big cost when it comes to visual inspection and supporting a wind farm. The approximate lifespan of a wind turbine is 20 years. And similar to thermal power plants, wind turbines have to be periodically inspected to achieve that 20-year lifespan. The gearbox, like I said, that's where we'll focus today, is one of the parts that's always inspected along with other parts of the wind turbine itself. But the gearbox is primarily visual inspection. And remote visual inspection, or RVI, is the most proven method for wind turbine gearbox inspections. So just you see the cutaway of the nacelle here. This is where we're focusing in here, the gearbox itself. So let's drill down further and show you just a display on your right side of your screen. You have a diagram showing the gearbox. And so what are some of the common challenges with this? We'll start with the high and intermediate stage bearings. So the main root cause of issues with this portion is misalignment between the high-speed shaft and the connection to the generator. That can cause several different types of defects that could go and transfer to other parts of the gearbox as well. Foreign object debris, so FOD, if you get that in any of these areas with the bearings or teeth, that can cause damage. And then finally, lubrication, oil viscosity, and cleanliness can cause several types of defects. And the defects that we can commonly see are pitting, corrosion, burrs. So there's various ones, and we'll get into the MDI and show you some of the ways that we characterize these defects. So failure on the high and intermediate stage bearings or anything in that stage can damage other parts of the gearbox because it's such high speed. And that could actually lead to full replacement of the gearbox. So to avoid that, we want to make sure we're catching defects when they first begin before they can become bigger problems. We want to monitor those over the life of the gearbox. The planetary stage bearing, so that's up here, that's the larger portion. So the planetary gear and the planetary stage bearings serve to absorb the varying wind stresses. And given the planetary stage size and space, placing strong life bearings can limit the gear dimensions, which can lead to shorter component life. So you might see more defects in this part of the asset. You'll notice it's also a fairly large area, so you do need a good amount of light output from your video borescope to illuminate that and to be able to detect any defects. Finally, gear teeth. So the root cause failure for gears are more likely to be found actually by identifying the material quality, surface grinding, or hardening process issues. And it's not uncommon to find a completely broken tooth when you go into a gearbox. So that's just kind of a high-level overview of some of the common challenges in a gearbox. Now let's transition over to a potential solution, a video borescope solution. So from Waygate Technologies, we offer a whole portfolio of video borescopes, specifically the Everest Mentor Flex, and the 4mm diameter probe is the most popular that we sell into the renewables and wind inspection industry. It really makes it easier to inspect, detect, and monitor flaws on the high-speed intermediate shaft bearings, the roller surfaces, the inner surface, the outer race, and really preventing damages from spreading to other components of the gearbox. That's the key to everything here. So what sets the Everest Mentor Flex apart from other video borescopes in the wind industry? First and foremost, it comes down to image quality. There's a lot of features and bells and whistles I'm going to show you today, but it comes down to best-in-class image quality. And when we talk about image quality, it's not just your camera resolution. There's several different ingredients that make up a recipe of good image quality. So yes, it's camera resolution. It's also your display resolution and display brightness. It's your optics in the head can. It's your optics in the optical tip to make sure you have the right characteristics such as field of view, depth of field, direction of view. It's also light output. So if you don't have the proper light output, it doesn't matter the optics or the display, right? You have to illuminate that big planetary stage. So all these different ingredients have to come together, and then you need good image processing to give you that optimal image quality on screen. One of the image processing tools that Waygate Technologies offers on the Mentor Flex that I don't believe any other borescope offers is called HDR, High Dynamic Range. This is a very interesting tool. I'll show you in a minute on the bearings, but essentially what it does is we combine multiple captures of the same image with different exposure levels, and it basically optimizes the brightness and image quality. So we'll show you that if you have dark areas of the image or a hot spot, it's going to make that more uniform, combine the exposures to give you optimal image quality. I mentioned light output. The Everest Mentor Flex has 2 times the light output than many other competitive video borescope products. And so even with a small diameter 4mm, you can illuminate large areas like the planetary stage. Ease of use, often overlooked, but ease of use can come down to the hardware and making your life easier when you're in this very confined nacelle up tower, whether it's a simple accessory to hang the handset to make it hands-free, or a kickstand to give you an optimal viewing angle of the display. Simple things like that to mount the borescope that make life more ergonomic and easier. Also, it's the software, right? So when we design our user interface, we try to make that as intuitive as possible. So a new user can pick up the borescope and figure it out, right? You don't need to read a whole user manual to figure out how to operate a user manual or how to operate the borescope. It's portable, weighs about 5 pounds, comes standard with a 3-hour battery runtime. So you can get a long duration out of your inspection, and it's a quick change battery, so you can keep a spare up tower if you need it. And then finally, it has automated reporting and cloud connectivity powered by InspectionWorks. And that's MDI and IW that we'll talk about here. On the right side of your screen, you see some images that were captured in a gearbox using the Mentor Flex. You have the roller bearings, you have the gear teeth, so really crisp quality images. And you see at the top of your screen, all of those are tagged, and we'll get into how we do that with MDI. Quick high-level overview of menu-directed inspection, or MDI. This is an on-borescope app that comes standard with every Mentor Flex. It's not an optional package that you have to purchase. It comes standard. Essentially, the way you think about this is it's a software that guides the user through the inspection. They select where they are in the asset on a menu tree like you see on the right side of your screen. And it automatically tags the image with context-based tags. So no more manual annotation, typing in where you are. So it automatically tags that image, burns it into the image, and gives it a smart file name. And so it makes sure that that data is consistent, especially when you push it up to the cloud. It makes the data more relevant. It's these rich data tags that allow us to filter and sort and across a fleet of assets. The context information is correlated at image capture and thereby ensures data integrity. It eliminates the need for manual note taking. So, we used to see customers who would manually take notes on a piece of paper of where that image was captured. So there's no more meaningless inspection images in that respect. At the end of the inspection, the user can click the report button and they generate a Word document and PDF report with all their images embedded. So it's super productive in that respect, where you don't have to take all these images and go back to your office or your hotel room and compile them manually in a Word document. It's going to automatically feed those images into a report and keep that all into one inspection folder for you. And in the end, it lets you monitor defects over time from one asset across multiple assets. And that's where we'll get into the cloud-based platform InspectionWorks as well. So InspectionWorks Insight, this is the cloud-based platform. As I mentioned, on the right side of your screen, you're seeing a video of how this is set up for push to IW. The way to think about push to IW is it's a manual backup for your data. And automatically, as you save the data, it's pushing it to the cloud. So the Everest MetroFlex has embedded wireless dongle, and it allows you to wirelessly connect to InspectionWorks and push data. So the data is saved locally. It has a 32 gigabyte internal memory, so you can save to that. It's saved locally and pushed to the cloud. So you have that backup and that safety there. And we'll show you once it gets to the cloud, there's some powerful tools in InspectionWorks Insight where you can share it, manage it, sort it, filter, and create other reports as well. So with that, let me go and I'll transition to a live demonstration on the Everest MetroFlex. Let me just pull up my program so I have my Everest MetroFlex here right next to me. It's streaming video to my laptop and I'm sharing that to you. And I have some bearings here on my desk that I have the camera pointed at. As you can see, they're quite shiny. So let's start off with a demo here. So the first thing we want to do is set up our InspectionWorks push to IW so that we're automatically, anything we save is going to be pushed to the cloud. So what I'm going to do is on the bottom, you see these soft keys, we call them. You have MDI, annotation, image, brightness. Very intuitive, easy to use. You'll notice as I change functions, those adapt. They're dynamic soft keys, so they change to sort of guide you through what you're doing. I'm going to start off here in the global menu, and I'm going to go to Insight. And so I've already logged in, and this is very simple. There's two things you have to do to set this up. One is you have to choose a default save location for your folder or where you want the data to save to push to the cloud. So if I hit this change folder button, I already have this set up to a folder that I named push to IW. You can put it to any folder. So now that I'm saving data to the push to IW folder, it's going to automatically push to the cloud. The next step 2 is just toggling this to on. Okay, so I have my IW Insight turned on and it's going to begin uploading my data as I go. So that's it. I have my push to IW set up. I set the folder up, I toggled it to on, done. So I'm going to go back to live here and we'll get into MDI. So I'm going to hit my MDI soft key. What you're seeing on screen, these various tiles, these are different inspection templates that you can create on your PC and load onto the MetroFlex using an MDI builder program that's free of charge. And we also have some canned templates that you can use to get started with. So let's start with the Gearbox template. And the first thing it's going to ask me is to add my inspection details. Now, these are fully customizable on the MDI builder program, so I can put whatever I want here. We just happen to start with Gearbox serial number, Gearbox manufacturer. You notice the top one has an orange asterisk next to it, so that means it's a mandatory field. And you can decide to make different fields mandatory. The nice thing about that is this drives report consistency and inspection consistency. If the same fields are required and you have to follow the same process each time, you're going to have consistent data, you're going to have consistent reports from technician to technician. It's not going to vary depending on who did the inspection. So let's start off by filling out my serial number. We'll just fill in, okay, we'll put in that. Gearbox manufacturer, we'll just Waygate for the heck of it. And these are optional fields, but I'll fill them out anyways. Okay. So once we have that set up, those inspection details are going to show up on the first or second page of my report. Now it's asking me, what folder do you want to save this to? And I want to save it to my push to IW folder so that when I save data to that folder, it's pushed up to the cloud. So now we're off and running. If I'm a technician up tower and I'm inspecting a gearbox, this is my first step, right? I'm going to go choose where I am, and you don't have to go in any particular order. So let's say I'm starting off at the second stage today. I hit second stage. I'm going to drill down now. Let's say I'm looking at my bearings, and these are all the different stages here. And let's say we're looking at the inner race. Okay, so I drilled down and I selected where I am in the asset. And now if you look at the top of the screen, you can see that it's tagging the image, and that's burned into the image. And not only is it part of the image, the file name is also intelligent. So you could just look at the file without even opening it and know where that image was captured in the asset. So before I start taking images, you'll notice these bearings are pretty shiny. And if you're in a gearbox, there's a lot of oil. So it's shiny, it's reflective, and you could get some hot spots. Like I mentioned, the powerful light output. I have a hot spot right in the middle of that bearing. And if I articulate over, I can articulate back up. And yeah, that's pretty big hot spot, right in the middle of the bearing. So if I freeze this image, I mentioned that HDR, or high dynamic range. I hit views. This is going to give me those different exposure levels. So I'm going to go with dark because it's going to take that hot spot out. And now you can see a lot more detail on that bearing. And also, if I go back, remember what it looks like. Look at the left side of your screen, how dark that is. You can't even see because it's blooming out in the foreground. So now look at when I hit dark, it really brightens that up. I could go with bright and really blow it out and see everything. That's a little bit too bright. So I'll go with dark. I'm going to hit save. And now this brings up an observation list. I think of these of ways to characterize defects. The person who built this template decided to have these observations tied to this specific part of the MDI menu tree. So you could have a different set of characterizations depending on what part of the asset you're in that are more specific to, say, the planetary stage or the intermediate stage. So I'll go in, let's just say this is normal condition because I didn't see anything of concern. So I hit save. Now, if you look at the top of your screen at the status bar, you'll see this spinning wheel. That spinning wheel is telling me that data was just, that saved image just pushed up to the cloud. So nothing to do, it's just automatically pushed to the cloud and it's saved locally. So if I hit back, maybe we'll take a couple more images. I'll articulate over a bit. We'll see some more of the bearings. We can freeze that image. Maybe we'll go to HDR and do HDR middle ground, save that image. We'll say we saw a burr, even though we didn't. If we see a burr, if we see a defect, we can save with a flag. And then when you report this out, you can report only the flagged images or everything. So save that image. And as you can imagine, you could go on and take 500 images. If I go back to views, MDI, I can go in here and I can skip around the menu tree based on where I am in my inspection. And these breadcrumbs up top allow you to skip around as well. So I can hit gearing, second stage. Those are touchable features to select where I am. And we'll save one more image. Okay, so that's saved. So these are all pushing up to the cloud as we go. So when we're done, and let's say we took a bunch of images and we want to report, we're going to go to our soft key here and hit report. And what you're seeing on screen now, on the left side of the screen, it gives you a preview of how many images per page that we have. So right now we have one big image per page in the data above. We can change that in the settings. On the right, it says we're going to include a PDF and a Word document. So we'll do that. And the report image quality is high. So what I want to do now is I want to preview this report to see how it looks. So I have my wind specific cover page here. So the cover page is just a Word document that you can customize and add yourself. So you can put your company logo there or whatever you want, a picture of the asset. And as I scroll down here, this cover page happens to be, I think, 2 or 3 pages. So they added a brief, a unit access, and a conclusion. So this is a Word document at the end that you can modify. So you can bring this up and type in what your conclusions were of the inspection. This is the automated part. This is where that starts. So you see your inspection details. That's what we typed in the beginning. The serial number, Waygate 500, that stuff we typed in the beginning. Then this table is a summary, sort of a bird's eye view of your inspection. That's automatically created every time you do an MDI, and it sort of shows you how many images you captured. So we have 3 images in the second stage. We have 1 flagged image in the second stage. So that's something that we might want to go down and take a look at in the report. And as we scroll down, this is our large image that we took. And you have your data on top. It shows you where you were in the asset. The tag is burned in. The file name is intelligent, telling you where it was in the asset. And then I have an end note. So the end note is similar to the cover page where you can add your own. It could be conclusions that you have, or you could have templates for the technician to fill out in Word. So that's just a preview. If I want to change any of this, I can hit settings. And for example, if I wanted to change my cover page, I could hit this and select a different one and browse to a different one. If I want to decide how many images I want in my report per page, this I have 1 image. Let's do 2 images per page. So we'll change it to 2 images. We can do up to 6 images per page. Now you see on the left, it shows 2 images. And now let's go ahead and generate. So we're generating the report. It's, again, creating it in Word and PDF. And then it's going to push it up to the cloud. If you see at the top status bar there, you see the wheels spinning. That's just progress of this being uploaded to InspectionWorks Insight. Okay, so pretty simple. What we'll do now is I'm going to flip over to the cloud side. And we will show you how this looks in the cloud in the InspectionWorks environment. So I've gone to inspectionworks.com. I've logged in on my account. I'm in Insight and I'm viewing my inspections. And so here's my various Gearbox inspections. And you can choose to publish these or not publish them. If I don't publish them, they're only visible to me. If I publish them, any of my audience that I share my reports with on my team can see them immediately as they're going in. So I can auto publish. So here's my one that we just did here, already uploaded. And so you see the images that we just captured. So you can go in and see that was the one that we needed a little HDR help from. And so we have this nice detailed one with HDR dark. So if I go back, I can actually notify people if I want to. I can go in here and notify somebody that I have a new inspection. So I can go in here and maybe type in somebody's email. And I can add comments and I can send that notification. And so what that notification would look like is, as the person on the other side of this, you'd get an email saying your teammate alerted you of InspectionWorks with a link. You can click that. It'll take you right to InspectionWorks where you can log in and see these images. I can also go in and look at my inspection reports. So this report that we just did is already uploaded, ready for, if you're a service company, your customer can see this immediately. The OEM, the asset owner, whoever needs to see this can see this immediately. There's no waiting period to manually load it to a thumb drive and carry it over to them. So now we have the 2 images per page because we changed that feature. And this is a Word doc or PDF, like I said, so you can change it. You can change the layout. You can add to it. So a lot that you can do there. So I think the takeaway here is it's a very powerful tool. It builds productivity, inspection consistency, and allows the user to monitor defects across a series of assets in IW. So with that, why don't we transition over if anybody has any questions. Again, you can put your questions in the chat. So if there's any questions, we can take those now. And you can learn more at our website, waygate-tech.com/RVI, as you see on screen. I'm not seeing any questions. One other thing I wanted to show you is the Everest Mentor Flex. This is our webpage. If you'd like to try this borescope out, you can request a free trial for 3 days at no charge to use this borescope. So if you go to our website, you go to the Mentor Flex page, you can hit request a trial, and it's going to bring up the ability to enter your information, and we'll contact you, and we can send you a borescope to try out for free for 3 days to see how that hardware works for you. So you can give it a little test drive. The other thing you can trial is the InspectionWorks software. So if you go to inspectionworks.com and hit try it now. You can hit create an account. You can create a free account for up to 5 user licenses, 50 gigabytes of storage in 90 days. So you can give this software a test drive to see how it fits into your processes, how it works with your processes, and see if it works for you. And then if you want to contact us to actually get started, we're happy to help with that for sure. See if we have any questions. Yeah, so looks like we have a question. How can I get started using the web application? So I think we just answered that one. So yeah, it's just going to inspectionworks.com and then clicking try it now, and you can create a base account. This is the button you're going to click. You type in some quick information. It's going to ask you to create a username and a password, and you're good to go. The Mentor Flex is already ready to go. All of the Waygate products are ready to go. So as long as you have a user license, a trial license or a paid license, and a password, you can log on from any Mentor Flex once you're connected to the internet. Good question. I don't see any other questions. So with that, we'll sign off. If you think of any questions, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Be happy to support you. But yeah, thank you very much for taking the time and joining us today. Take care.